K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve them.
Republicans and Democrats.
All right, folks. Well, it's Saturday morning, and you know what that means. It is time for Finding Common Ground. It is just a few minutes past the hour of 9 Central, 10 Eastern, and I am joined today by Bryce Robbins, my usual co-host. And eventually, I'll get enough caffeine in me where I can remember that I actually get paid to talk for a living. So far, it's not working real well. How are you this morning, Bryce?
I'm good. I can't complain.
Well, you could, but I wouldn't listen.
Been very busy now that I've started my internship working for a New York State senator, so I'm a little tired. Don't know if I'll be able to keep up with your, talking. But how are you?
Excited, actually. For those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, you might have noticed we actually have sponsors now. Yay! We're actually going to start getting paid to do this. Not sure who was drunk when they made that decision, but I'm going to run with it.
But you know what? All that matters is that they were drunk.
Probably, but that's okay. It's just one of those things where, I actually realized that I can actually put professional talk show host on my resume now. That's a little scary. Especially for those of you who know me personally.
Shoot, that's weird. I never put it that way. Yeah, wow, okay.
So, Lots of stuff to talk about today. Bryce and I were passing some articles back and forth. I figured, I don't really have any idea. You asked me if we could talk about something right before we went live, and I honestly have no idea what you're talking about, so I figured we might as well spend the first few minutes talking about that so I can get up to speed and see if it's something that I want to make fun of somebody about, because I haven't heard anything about it. I've been so busy this week, I haven't even kept up with the news. That's how busy I've been.
So Martin O'Malley was doing an interview of some sort, and he quoted a news article, a satirical news article, the equivalent to The Onion. So kind of, look, Martin O'Malley at this point stands no chance at all. And I can actually read you the quote. It was that, quote, Eric Holder takes $77 million, took a $77 million job with JP Morgan Chase. And he was trying to explain how, jobs these days in Washington and with these banks are just a revolving door. That you work for the banks, then you come work for Washington, then you go right back to the banks. But that is not true at all. Yes, Eric Holder, I believe, did have ties to JP Morgan Chase, but he was never paid the $77 million. So now, not only was, not only did he look like a joke, but his campaign is turning out to be a waste of time. It's not as bad as like Lincoln Chafee or George Pataki, but, I think it's pretty clear who the Democrats are putting up. It's Sanders and Clinton, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts at this point. Those are the two. Because there's no room for anybody else. You have the extreme left, and you have the most right that the Democrats will allow. So it's like there's no really where in the middle to even squeeze in. It's kind of crappy for anybody else trying to run, but he quoted a satirical news article. That's not the first time a politician's done that, but I just thought that was very funny.
Okay, well, just for the record, there was a time when I first started this when I found a video clip, and you would be surprised how much the ONN, when you're doing research at 5:30 in the morning, when you run across a video clip and there's a little logo at the bottom, you'd be surprised how much ONN looks like CNN. So I started putting out this link all over the Facebook page going, please tell me this is not real. And somebody went, hey, dumbass, that's The Onion. I was like, holy shit, I thought that said CNN. Oops.
That is actually funny. But you know what?
I can relate, so I'm just saying. But yeah.
Yeah, but you're not running for political office. This man's running for president.
Well, speaking of folks that are in political office, there's an interesting tie-in that you just reminded me of. My governor, who I have actually met personally, and I actually think is a very nice person, actually said one of the craziest things I think I've ever heard. She was quoted as to say we have three branches of government: the legislative, the judicial, and the people when they vote. Ouch.
Well, the people when they vote, but oh my god.
So she just
that's an interesting one.
Basically, just kind of made herself irrelevant for one, and for two, the people are not. While they're an integral part of the system, they're not an actual branch of the system. And this is coming from somebody again who's met Governor Fallon and actually has talked to her a few times and actually likes her for the most part. I don't always agree with her policies, but at this point I'm just like, really? You couldn't have somebody fact check that before you said it? You have a staff for a reason. I mean, come on. On my personal Facebook page, I have my picture with Governor Fallon, and I'm just like, I like you, but I'm considering changing my picture now.
No, she's not the governor. She's the third branch of government of Oklahoma. She's the people. That's interesting, and including the fact that the Electoral College is the ones who actually vote. I mean, for the most part, us people are just a suggestion. I mean, in all basic reality, we vote for our congressmen and senators, but when it comes down to president, us stupid people aren't allowed to do that. They have to ensure that we pick the right people.
Well, I mean, you know, I've heard people that have talked about that before, but at least from what I understand, a lot of states have safeguards in place where the Electoral College is actually supposed to follow the vote of people.
Something's not closing. Okay, there we go. Sorry.
That's all right. I had something open over here, so I was afraid it was me again. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, no, it was me. It was playing the Jimmy Dean Delight the Sandwich.
Hey, they don't pay us yet. No. We're playing their stuff.
So you were saying?
No, I was just saying. Actually, I kind of forgot. Let's see, where were we?
Do you mind if I play a video to explain the Electoral College, how I see it? It's kind of funny.
Oh, wait,
I don't know if you've ever seen Key and Peele.
Now I remember what I was saying, so yeah, you can play that in a second, though. But yeah, at least from my understanding, most of the states have safeguards in place where the Electoral College is actually supposed to follow the vote of the people. I know there are some states where they're allowed to say, yeah, no. I've never actually seen that happen, though.
Well, I mean, this is the Electoral College as explained by Key and Peele, a famous show on Comedy Central. I don't know if you've ever seen it. They are two comedians who put on skits. So we'll have a listen to this. Alright, that was the little comedy skit they put together a while back. But I thought it'd be funny because we were talking about the Electoral College.
Awesome way to end that segment. And actually, unfortunately, it is already time for our first set of breaks. We will be back in about 3.5, folks.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Wow! Good God, y'all! What is it good for? Absolutely! Get started again.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rail. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Wounded Warrior Project provides these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence at no cost for life. So now it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Join us at findwwp.org.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
All right, folks, we're back. That's right. It's Finding Common Ground, and I am one of the hosts, Rick Robinson, joined today by Bryce Robbins. And so far, we've kind of been talking a little bit of random news about politicians being stupid and the Electoral College. At this point, I think we're going to go ahead and change gears. There were a couple of articles that I passed around last night, which I thought were interesting because it's the whole Confederate flag situation and the whole flap-up coming from two completely different angles, but both from Walmart stores, which I thought was interesting. There were a couple of recent high school graduates who actually went into different Walmart stores. One had already paid for the ring. And when they went to go pick it up, the ring itself was basically marked not for sale, even though they had already purchased it because it had a Confederate flag in the inlay on the ring. So instead of selling the person the ring because they'd already paid for the ring, they basically refunded them their money, sent the ring back to the manufacturer, and basically it was melted down and the material was reused. Now, this person quietly left the store dejected, sad, hurt feelings, went home, probably cried in their milk, whatever. There's another story in another location where the person actually hadn't paid for the ring yet. They placed the order, and what they were actually wanting, which they had there, was a ring with that school's mascot on it, which is actually it's a cartoon depiction of a rebel because that was their school's mascot. You know, big floppy gray hat, gray uniform, all that fun stuff. Well, the manufacturer who did that ring design also on the reverse of the ring had the Confederate flag, so they refused to let them place the order. Well, these folks did something a little different than the first set of folks. They actually took to social media, started a campaign to let folks understand that this was going to be impacting thousands of kids graduating from a high school who were only trying to get a ring that depicted their school, but they weren't being allowed to because the manufacturer had put a Confederate flag on the reverse side of the ring. So long story short, they started a GoFundMe, got all this attention, and the next thing you know, Walmart's calling them saying, hey, we'll figure out a way to get this done. And basically, so now the ring manufacturer is redesigning the ring to remove the Confederate flag, but still allow the depiction of the school mascot, which I still think, honestly, is crap. But at least they found a way to work with this last group of folks instead of just saying, yeah, screw you, we're going to melt down your ring. I am a capitalist, so I do understand that stores are going to make decisions that they feel are going to best support their customer base and try to do their best to make sure they don't run off a bunch of customers. But I still don't quite understand how this isn't the same scenario as the we're going to make you make a cake whether you want to or not cases.
I think I do understand what you're saying there. I mean, but let's look at it like this. The Confederate flag has a history. I guess you could say, I mean, the maker of the very Confederate flag said that it was supposed to be for segregation. It was supposed to be, anti-black. It was supposed to represent Southern white pride. And that's the flag that is flown. I mean, But for Walmart to say we're not going to sell it, I think is a decision that is based off its historical presence. Rather, when you have gay people wanting a cake, I think that's more on the discriminatory side, because they are just celebrating their marriage. But I obviously understand the religious standpoint of it. I just read a news article that said a bakery was fined $135,000 after they told a gay couple, "We're sorry, but our religious views don't align with your marriage, and therefore we don't want to participate in a gay marriage." Look, I kind of side on the religious liberty part here. You can take note of that for the first time a liberal is, because I do understand.
Hang on. Who are you, and what the hell have you done with Bryce?
Yeah, no, I don't.
I'm just kidding.
No, that's a fair statement. I don't think that someone, if it's your honest religious belief, then I think, you know what, all right, fine. Because you make a very good point. There's a bakery down the street, you can go to another one. It's capitalism. But at the same time, though, I strongly believe that we can't discriminate against people. So, I mean, it's a slippery slope if you just say, you can't come to this bakery because we don't align with your religious beliefs. That's why I morally side with the idea of, no, serve everybody, don't discriminate, just equality. Money is green. But again, I think the difference here is we have a flag that represents the enemy of the United States at one point, fighting for their states' rights to have slaves. And then on the flip side, you have people who felt that they weren't being included or being embraced by America and the liberties that America provides. So I think there is a difference there.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I struggle with this myself because here's the thing. It's not like they're not saying, don't come into my bakery at all. They're saying, hey, we'll make you pretty much anything you want as long as you're not trying to make our product a part of your wedding, since we completely disagree with your belief system. But at the same time, is this still not discrimination when you're basically telling an entire group of people that, yes, to you, this flag may mean that it's this terrible thing, but there are lots of folks, case in point particularly, one of the former stars of the Dukes of Hazzard, who actually is a Democrat, who got involved in politics. His character on the show was named Cooter. His real name is Ben Jones. He actually spent the majority of his life after TV in politics. And in the 60s and the 70s, he was heavy in the civil rights movement. He was heavy in trying to make sure that folks got the rights they deserved. So to him, and in the South, what they wound up doing was they, in their eyes, they reclaimed that flag as a part of their heritage and turned it away from what it was originally intended to be to become what everybody else saw it as, which was a symbol of freedom. And to him, and I think I've played the clip before, I don't have it queued up today, but to him, he doesn't understand the nonsense, because to him, an entire generation of people basically took something that the entire world at that time saw as a symbol of evil and turned it into a symbol of good. I think what we're winding up doing now is we're, in some ways, undoing all of the work that they did, because there are so many people in the South that don't see that as a symbol of oppression any longer. They see it as a symbol of freedom because of what it became after the Civil War. It's no different and people are going to call me crazy, but to me, this is no different than the fact that when you have a white person that says the N-word, everybody gets ticked off. But a black person says the N-word, and it becomes a symbol to them. That's why they started using it.
Sorry.
I mean, to me, it's the same idea. We're looking at it from the outside, so it makes no sense to us. Like I said, I have no skin in the game when it comes to the Confederate flag. But I do know that if we start... This is how human nature works. Everything that starts as voluntary will eventually become compulsory. And at some point, if we keep going down this road, we're going to have a group of people that decide what we can read, what we can watch, what we can wear, what we can drive, and we're going to have no choice but to comply. It may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but I guarantee you, if we continue down this road, it is going to happen.
Well, here's my problem with it. I was going to give the argument that the N-word was taken, and now there is an A that's added to it, and you drop the ER. So that word has now become acceptable and has become like in some areas it's become just like a what's up. That's normally what it is followed. And I was going to say how a community has translated one word to another. A better example, though, would be the word black itself. In the 50s, in the 60s, African Americans were called Negroes. That was the term. Negro, Caucasian. I mean, it's pretty much the same. I mean, I think the proper term is Negroid. But Malcolm X championed the Black is Beautiful movement, and they took away the word Negro and replaced it with being black. So I guess that's where that term originated. That's where the popularity came out. But I also wanted to just read you this quote. This is from William T. Thompson. I don't know if you ever read it. And he's the creator of the Confederate flag. This Confederate flag, not the other Confederate flags. As a people, we are fighting to maintain the heaven-ordained supremacy of the white man over the inferior or colored race. A white flag would thus be emblematical of our case, or of our cause, Upon a red field would stand forth our Southern Cross, gemmed, preserving it in beautiful contrast, the red, white, and blue. So, sorry for my poor reading there. I just got a little confused with a couple of those words. But what he's showing is, clearly this flag was intended or was showing a type of racism.
I'm not disputing that, though. You just basically made my whole point with the other thing. And just to go back to a point, the term Negro actually in Spanish already means black, which is where the Black is Beautiful movement came from. But you've kind of proven my whole point, because what started as a disparaging word and what was a hateful word was reclaimed and changed by others. That, for some reason, is acceptable.
My point was that it shouldn't be acceptable, because a lot of people are still offended by that. I know a guy he's African American, and he was essentially saying, I don't care if there's an A at the end, he went through all the vowels, IOU, it's not okay. When you have something that, to some people, has been so divisive and so painful because of history, it's not necessarily okay to take that, rework it a little bit, niche it, and then say, here, it's perfect again. And in this case, in the Confederate flag, I never got the memo that all of a sudden this means Southern pride. To me, this just means exactly what the maker of the flag...
Well, how the hell would you get the memo? You're in frickin' New Jersey.
That's true. Okay, touche. But I don't think that the memo is really passed around anywhere, because
it's rather prominent in the South. Come on, there have been black people that have come out and talked about the fact that this is stupid, that even to them this is a symbol of their history, a symbol of their pride, that they had family members that died in the conflict that flag represents, and that's why it's important to them. Whitewashing our history, pardon the term, is not going to make it go away. At this point, let's look at this honestly. As of now, the Confederate flag is being removed, but we still have the underlying problem. We still have people that are racist. We still have people that are dumbasses. It doesn't matter whether they fly an American flag, a Confederate flag, a German flag, French flag. We have people that are racist.
That's 100% true, yeah.
But doing away with this flag was nothing but a Band-Aid. It was a feel-good moment for the people that finally said, okay, we got to do something about this, because these here Southern folks, they're dumbasses, so we got to do something about this right here, right now. I mean, it's stupid. And I understand that there are people that don't understand what that flag means to folks that don't live below the Mason-Dixon line. But if you don't understand it, then stay the hell out of it. And this is my point, to go back to this, and then we have to take another break. But Dukes of Hazzard has been removed because of the General Lee having a flag on top of the car. Even though if you go back and you listen to the episodes, most of what they were doing was making fun of the Civil War in the first place. And I mean, come on. J.D. Hogg and Abraham Lincoln Hogg? Hello, one's completely evil and wears white, the other one's in black and completely good, and one's named after the southern leader and the other one's named after the northern leader. Come on, it's not like they weren't being subtle about where they stood with all this crap. But the simple fact of the matter is, we still have shows like The Jeffersons, where the dude says honky and cracker on every other freaking episode and all these other words that should be considered hateful, but hey, that's okay. I don't understand the double standard. It's like as soon as anybody gets their panties in a wad, they're all of a sudden, well, that's not okay either. Look, if it's okay to the people that are using it, then it should be okay to you, because it's honestly none of your damn business. And to me, it makes no difference. If you go into a bakery and they say, I'm not going to bake you that cake because you want me to put a Confederate flag on it, I'm sorry. To me, that's discrimination. The same exact case in reverse that all of these other folks are talking about. But we'll have to continue this when we get back, because we are now officially over the line for the break.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members, of their families or their children, asking them to deploy, patrol, stay on watch, on point, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to bring them all the way home, to keep them secure, to have their backs for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs do whatever it takes to help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life. so that they might stand at ease. Find out how you can help at findwwp.org.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
All right, folks, we're back. We're live. We're into the last half of the show right here on Finding Common Ground. Don't forget to stay tuned, because as soon as this show is done, I will be quiet, and the liberals get to run the house for a while on Opinion Nation right here with my current co-host, Mr. Bryce Robbins. Speaking of which, congratulations, sir. I did forget to make this announcement earlier. Your show has now been picked up by Stitcher and is also available on FM Player. Bravo, sir. Good job.
Thank you very much, and that means I guess I will be saying hello to those people on Stitcher and Player FM.
So yeah, lots of good, exciting news going on around here. And actually, before I forget, because I didn't do my own show live yesterday because it was my daughter's birthday, so I took as much of the evening off as I could, but of course that didn't last forever. We do have a few guest spots lining up on Off the Rails. Next week, we will have Dr. Randy Arrington appearing on Monday with both myself and one of the co-hosts of Red Nation Rising. Jared Day will be sitting in with me as a guest co-host on Monday, and Randy Arrington will be with us then. Then Thursday, we have a guest. Sadly, his name escapes me for the moment. It is, and I'll get the information together for that so we can start giving it out on the show later in the week. And this Thursday and next Thursday, I will be sitting in on Red Nation Rising, so make sure you tune in there as well. Also, did just get off the phone with Rod Eccles yesterday. It looks like we are working on putting together an agreement where we will have a group of hosts that will fill in for him when he's traveling. Still getting all that worked out. Not sure if we'll be able to get things together for the first time we were going to be asked, which is next week, but might start hearing a few of us in a lot more places. So, yeah. Speaking of which, this show has also been added to both Player FM and Stitcher, so yay, go us.
Yay, go us indeed.
All right, so before we get to the topic that I kind of wanted to close the show with, I sent you an article, and I figured we'd talk about it on the air. We'd actually talked about it a little bit off air, so I'm not going to be surprised by your answer now. But there was an article that I sent you, and sadly I don't have it in front of me because Facebook crashed. But about a killing spree that had basically been going on from, I believe it was May through end of June, beginning of July, and it actually spanned, I believe it was a tri-state area on the eastern seaboard, one of which actually being New Jersey. And the topic of this particular article was the fact that this was something that was in the news that nobody knew was happening. So what I had asked you off the air was to pull up the article and tell me if you had heard anything about it. And your answer was?
Nope, haven't heard anything about it.
Does that not disturb you just a little?
No, it does. I mean, it definitely says something about our media, because let's not forget, there's a difference between news and media. No one watches the news anymore. Everyone watches the media, which is just a, pompous asshole who sits in front of a screen and brings on professionals or analysts to discuss an agenda of a certain political party that gets their funding and paychecks from corporations as far as the eye can see. I'm talking about MSNBC and Fox.
Ouch.
It's true. I mean, that's what most people watch, I would say. And that's probably where they get their news updates, and that's where they get all their information from. And hence why we know more about two flags one going up, one going down. That's why we know more that Donald Trump is, taking the lead in the presidential poll, which amazes me. And that's also why we don't hear about this killing.
Well, I mean, it might be different if it was just like 1 or too, but this was a guy that killed 7 people in the space of a few months, and nobody said a word. I mean, if you go look, you can find it. And that's, somebody tried to point out, what do you mean they're not talking about it? All you gotta do is Google it. And the person right below them in the comments said, in order to Google it, you have to know about it first.
That is true.
I'm just saying. So the thing about it is, come on. And I mean, it just amazes me that we've gotten to the point now where we don't even actually tell news stories anymore because they don't sell.
That's true.
And this is the thing, and I can honestly say this now that we have sponsors. This isn't just about the money for me. I don't want sensational headlines. I don't want clickbait crap. I mean, we may use it once in a while to basically spark an argument because I think it's fun when you and I argue back and forth. But it's not anything that I'm going to do legitimately just to try to draw folks in. If I use it, it's because it's like, hey, I haven't trolled in a while. Let's see what happens.
And you troll a lot.
Hey, I resemble that.
No, but I mean...
And what does George show?
Sorry.
But yeah,
that's Bernie.
In the last
yeah, nobody wants to hear him right now. That's later. Bernie, go in. Shut up.
Sorry, that was Bernie playing for a little bit.
Yeah, whatever. You know you did that on purpose.
I did not.
Do I need to start playing Bernie's theme song again?
Oh my god. All right, well, let's see. What's another topic that we can jump to on this? I mean, it's definitely some type of... We're definitely seeing, and I agree with you, that when someone of a minority race does something, it's... I don't want to sound terrible when I say this, but it's kind of like the Joker from Batman, and I wish I had the audio clip for this. But what he says is, when you have a truck of soldiers and they blow up, no one cares. Everyone's day goes on. They weep and they move on. But when one little old man dies, well, then everyone loses their minds. So I guess the media and the news and whoever has made it so ordinary that minority groups are the criminals, are the murderers, are the rapists, Donald Trump, then it's not sensational, it's not newsworthy when something like this happens. Because they've already taken this group of people and made them into the criminal, I guess, I guess they've done a pretty good job at that.
Now, just to be fair, couple counterpoints. One, if this was a white guy, it would have been all over the media.
Absolutely, that's my point. Is that because the media, that's how they're portrayed, so it's almost typical. But if you had a white guy do it, that's the big story. If a white guy killed 7 of these people, being black, it would have been all over the news. I agree with you.
Well, yeah, and there would have been Black Lives Matter and yada yada yada, all that fun stuff. But back to Trump. In fairness, yes, I don't like Trump. He's a little too douchey for my taste. Sometimes I wonder if you catch him, are his lips still moving or is it his hair talking? But that being said, it is rather apparent if you actually listen to the entire clip that what he meant to say, and I don't know why he hasn't walked it back on more than one place, because he actually has said this on Sean Hannity's show, that what he meant to say was when the Mexican government sends people over here, they are not sending their best. By default, that means the people that they are allowing to cross their southern border. That also means the fact that the freaking Mexican government puts out a map with instructions in Spanish about how to apply for programs once they get here. So they are legitimately sending people over here. But the simple fact of the matter is, because of that 30-second soundbite, he has been blown all the way out of proportion, and he's basically been made a laughingstock, which I honestly don't know if he deserves to be one or not. I do know that he's said much worse things. I actually saw a quote yesterday about something that he said about his daughter, which made my stomach turn.
Oh, the one about her being dating him?
Well, the one about her being rather attractive, and if that wasn't his daughter, he'd date her, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. In fact, I watched the whole, his whole announcement speech, all 55 minutes of it, and...
Did you fall asleep?
No, I was actually kind of interested. I
Did
found
your head
myself
explode?
agreeing with him a lot.
Wait, hang on. Back that up. I want to get that for the recording. Say that one more time.
I found that I agreed with Donald Trump on a lot of things. However, I didn't agree with how he plans, obviously, to go about accomplishing a lot of his goals. For example, when
you
he
realize I'm
going to
make that bit right there. I'm going to go back and find that, and I'm going to make that a permanent part of the intro.
Okay,
saying.
that's fair. That is fair. I wouldn't mind that. But with Donald Trump, he did get blown out of proportion with what he said. But he's got to be more careful. I mean, the good thing about him having $9 billion, or however much it is that he could say what he wants. And that's what's going to make him so likable. And that's what's going to make him so loved by all these people. Because he can say the things that Jeb Bush can't, or else Jeb Bush is going to lose his funding. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has to watch himself because he has no restraint. And when he says something like that could be a little edgy, or in this case, very edgy, he's going to get the shit for it.
No, actually, Donald doesn't have to watch himself, and this is why.
$8,737,540,000.
It doesn't matter what these people do to him because he's got more money than God.
That is true. He literally does. Whoops, sorry. Why does that keep happening?
Okay, I'm going to start making you shut down your laptop or something.
I really will. But with this whole Donald Trump thing, I actually saw a video last night. He was explaining, he said it in his Donald Trump way, I love the Mexican people, I have a great relationship with the Mexican people, which I don't know how any of that could possibly be true.
Because he hires a lot of them. I mean, come on. Let's be honest. He is being completely hypocritical right now because you know as well as I do, if he were to open up the books and peel back the layers, he probably has tons of undocumented workers working for him. That's my issue with Donald Trump. Is put your mouth where the rest of your money is. If you're so against illegal immigration, then stop hiring illegal immigrants.
Stop making your clothes in Mexico. He gets the cloth in Mexico. It gets manufactured in China. If he loves them so much, and he loves American workers, and he wants to rebuild America, make America great again, stop making so much freaking money and give it to the American worker who you apparently love so much.
Well, I mean, I'm not against anybody making money, just for the record.
Not making money, but look, he claims he wants to make America great again, and I think a huge step in making America great again is you need people like the owner of Costco. For whatever reason, his name is escaping me right now, but he chooses to make $500,000 a year, and all of his employees get paid $21 an hour, get benefits, and work. That's decent. So that's really good, actually.
No, and I understand that, but that's why my argument has been forever. Let's get rid of the stick approach because we have a stick approach when it comes to economics. We have this thing where the government steps in and says, "Oh no, we're going to force you to pay people X amount of dollars." No, that's the wrong approach because when you piss people off because you make them pay X amount of dollars, all they wind up doing is passing those costs on to their consumers, which ultimately means the pay raise that you just mandated went away. But if we take the approach that I talk about over and over and over again, where we actually start giving incentives to businesses to pay their people above minimum wage and give them more incentives the further they get them above minimum wage, we could get it to the point where it's not a stick approach to get businesses to pay folks a living wage, because we could basically actually make it an incentive for them to do that. Because honestly, the reason that we have all of these jobs moving overseas right now, and all of these places where, like, even now they're talking about freaking shipping our poultry to China to have it packaged and having it shipped back. How is it cost effective to raise an animal here, to kill it here, to ship it somewhere to have it packaged and packaged and processed, and then ship it all the way back across the globe? You want to know why it's cost effective to do that now? Because of all the stupid crap and all the different rules that are in place for a lot of this stuff. And I know some of these rules are necessary. I am not an anarchist. I understand we have to have government. But when it becomes more cost effective for people to grow an animal here and then ship it overseas to get it packaged and then ship it back to sell it, there's a problem with our system somewhere in there, because that doesn't not make any sense to me economically.
No, I agree with you. And I don't know, have you ever watched the show Shark Tank?
Yes.
Okay, so you obviously then know Kevin O'Leary.
Yes.
He's awesome. But he is obviously the biggest capitalist in the world. And he was explaining how the big companies have already gone overseas. And they're going to make their billions of dollars overseas. What America needs to start focusing on is the free market among small businesses. Because that's where a lot of the jobs are going to be starting now, is these small tech startups, these smaller mom and pop shops that are going to eventually get big. But that's where the jobs are. And the thing is, people don't want to be on the welfare systems. People don't want to be reliant on those. People want a job, but we make it so freaking hard in this country to get a job. I mean,
well, that's because everybody's in the pocket of the big corporations. I mean, and that goes for both parties. I mean, let's be honest for a moment. At this point, 70-ish% of the jobs that are created in this country are created by small businesses, but it's always the large corporations that get the humongous tax breaks and everything else. So we're actually, by the time we roll out all the Obamacare changes and everything else that's happened, what we're ultimately doing is making the playing field more level for the large corporations that can absorb the costs, and we're eventually killing all the mom and pop and the startup businesses. There's a reason why my current business model involves any hosts that are hosting with me to be paid directly through the affiliate that gives us broadcasting, because I'm not going to start becoming responsible for things like Obamacare. If you're going to work with me, you're going to work for yourself, because then I'm not responsible for your health care.
Yeah, where my health care? No, I agree with you. And I think an important thing, though, to keep in mind here is that, I think Obamacare is... Well, this is really for a whole other episode. But I think what it is accomplishing is good. But I think it has a lot of wrong in it, being that big corporations have a lot of control over it. So ultimately, although it's giving people health insurance, at the same time, it's giving millions and millions of customers to these already too big to fail health groups. So,
hang on a second. Have you actually looked at the pre-insurance numbers for Obamacare as opposed to the post-insurance numbers for Obamacare, as far as the number of folks that are actually still technically under or uninsured? Because the
uninsurance rate has dropped.
By what, like 2 points?
No. There was a statistic given that some man said it was dropped by 4%, but that wasn't true. It was dropped by nearly, I think it was 40 almost. I mean, we have millions of people who are now being insured. We're at the lowest uninsured
You're going to have to show me documentation on that, because I call BS. Because I know plenty of people that actually had health insurance through their employers anymore that aren't eligible for health insurance at all because of the changes. And what they are paying for, instead of it saving them money as it was originally supposed to do, is now costing them an extra $5,000 to $6,000 a year. So yes, they may have insurance now, and there may be people that weren't able to get insurance before that now, thanks to all the subsidies and everything else, can get insurance. But all we've done is made the folks that could get insurance get much worse coverages for a lot more money, when in essence, if we would have just focused on the folks that didn't have the coverages in the first place, we could have found a way to fix the system. But we couldn't do that, because this is where you and I are going to disagree, because you think single payer is the way to go. I don't, but this is the framework, and it's working exactly as it's intended to, at one point, get us to a single payer system. And as case in point, I actually have a clip that I've played before where Obama in public talks about how single payer won't work here and that he's not a fan of it. But then, much like the whole Romney 47% clip, in a private closed-door session, admits that he is a fan of single-payer system and does eventually want to find a way to get the country here. I submit to you that this is the foundation for it, because what it is doing is what it's designed to do, which is eviscerate the insurance companies. And at some point, they're going to break the system bad enough to where the government has to step in and pick up the pieces. And then at that point, I'm sorry, whether you think it's a good idea or a bad idea, we're fucked, because then they're going to be able to control when you go to the doctor, how you go to the doctor, and what kind of treatment you get. And eventually we're going to run out of money. And if you think single payer is such a great idea, I suggest you go back and re-listen to an interview that was recently done by an NBC host who was injured during the Olympics in Great Britain and wanted to go see the single-payer system firsthand because she's a big fan of that, and was basically warned off by everybody around her and said, no, you have money, so we're going to get you actual health care.
I mean, again, this is not a debate that we can have in the next 4 minutes, but we definitely are going to put this on board for next week. Single payer versus your free market healthcare. And we should definitely have
there's no such thing as free market healthcare anymore. There hasn't been for quite some time. We should get back to free market healthcare, because if you look, and I'll actually, since we're putting this on the table for next week, I'll actually do some research. If you look, before the insurance company rollouts, an average person could break their arm, have x-rays, have casts done, and have everything done and be in and out for around $70. Within 5 years of the insurance business kicking in, it went to 10 times that amount, if not more. So I honestly think insurance companies are the problem. I don't think the answer is putting the government in charge of our health care, because once they have control of it, yeah, it may work great for a while, but what happens when you get somebody who suddenly decides that he doesn't like the way you vote, so fuck you, you're not getting health care?
Well, here's the thing. I'll probably say this for next week, but in Thailand, there's this thing called medical tourism. And they have a free market, exactly what you're talking about, medical system. If you can afford it, you're going to get the best treatment around. And they get one guy, it was the guy he does 30 days, his name's escaping me. He got a colonoscopy, he got a full the nuclear stress test, he got something else. It was all like $700, where it would cost like $3,000 in the United States, or $3,500. I forget what the actual number was. I did want to just slip in this statistic real quick that I found. So since the 5 years since Obama's been in office, since Obamacare kicked in, the uninsurance rate has fallen. People who got insured was 16.5 million. That amounted to a report that was released by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services that said the uninsurance rate is 13.2%, down from 20.3% in 2012 and 13. That's a 35% decline. But now the number is even lower at 11.4%. So, I mean, it is working in a sense that it is making people insured. But, you know.
All right, folks. Well, you know what that sound means. It means we have got to go. We'll be back with you next week, and we'll continue this conversation.
Republicans and Democrats.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.